everyone, it's GT time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
2015 is so good.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Roger.
In the super seat this week, Elise Willems.
It's a super treat to be in the super seat.
And making this all happen in the booth, Ian Hink.
Hi.
You all did great on your sign-ins. I loved that.
Thank
That
you.
was not anything I asked for, but it's everything I ever wanted.
There you go.
I've always wanted that. A podcast that starts like that, we're on a roll right now.
We're done.
And then you
Right.
ruined it
Yeah,
by
yeah,
calling
yeah.
attention to
No,
it.
of course, of
Look
course.
how good we did.
That's just me, of course. Elise, you are in the super seat this week. We have a very serious question for you. The aliens have invaded. One alien has gone rogue. It's holding a lightsaber and a Tron disc. It says, "Hey buddy, I'm here to help. Take one of my weapons." Which do you take?
Do I fight alongside the alien?
As long as you can keep up with it.
I'm going to take that Tron disc
Why you take the Tron disc?
because I want to have a projectile weapon. I want to be able to get that distance.
Yeah.
I know that I don't have the hand-eye coordination to wield that lightsaber effectively.
Cool.
That alien that's fighting along my side
Yeah.
to the end, he probably is pretty skilled in...
So he'll handle the close-up stuff.
That's pretty smart.
That's
Yeah.
genius. That's
because
really
it's
good.
not
yeah.
because it's not only like you think you can do the hand to hand because you're like, oh, it just looks like so much fun. I could get good at lightsaber, but it's
Yeah.
it's like the shot deflection.
And you
That's
know
like
the other-
more than half of being a Jedi.
And you need
Yeah.
the force, kind
no
of.
one in this room can do that.
You're right. You need the Force a little bit to be able to use
I'm
that.
not forceful
Yeah.
enough.
And like I was thinking about it, the other aliens have Tron discs, so they're gonna be throwing those at you. You know what I mean?
We didn't know that.
Well, you have to assume that if this alien has those two things, that the other,
I did make that assumption.
yeah.
I didn't think anybody would take that Tron disc.
That's why
I like
also
it,
I
yeah.
assumed that everybody's going to take a lightsaber.
Yeah, Brad
Of
took
course.
the lightsaber. Yeah.
But and then once I find my light cycle
Right.
hidden in a cave somewhere, I'm gonna look
Whoa.
super cool.
And the thing is, I didn't tell you this, but in order to access that cave, you need to put your disc into the slot. So you made the right decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if you take the weapon and then double cross the double cross and start fighting on the side of the aliens?
You could do that. That is an option.
And then that alien is just like, no, porque.
Yeah, I would turn in the alien that went rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Get in their
kill him.
good
I would
graces.
take the lightsaber, murder him with it, and then
These
take
a-
him back to alien overlords.
But then work from
I-
the inside to take them down
the
from
thing
the
is,
top.
the
Right.
aliens are very disgusted by humans. They don't really want to team up with you.
Exactly. I mean, but I will accept my place of honor at the head of the Galactic Federation after the war.
Yeah, after
Is
you and this
over.
other alien
Yeah.
take over because you found the light
Totally.
cycle.
This whole scenario, I'm just imagining the Independence Day aliens. So it
Well,
kinda
if you
makes sense.
if you took a Mac laptop instead of either of those, you could just
Yeah.
upload a virus to their mother brain and
Just
done.
sneeze on them,
Yeah,
too.
exactly, yeah.
For good measure.
Sneezing helps.
That's
But
a great question.
You picked the right weapon. Let's start off with our corrections. Ian, begin corrections music, please. Drive
Where's the
Club-
graphic?
There it is. Drive
Okay.
Club sold over 2 million copies before it was free, so it's actually done very well for itself.
Yeah, and that correction came from the games director as well as many other people.
Yeah, very embarrassing. Very embarrassing to have the games director say, actually, guys. So,
Hey, man.
yeah. Rainbow Six Siege was delayed only to December 1st. So that's actually still
I
coming
know.
out this year.
Most corrections, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, nice. Thank you for, letting us know the official information. Like,
Yeah.
I screwed that up. I
Yeah.
should have known.
That was on us.
still
yeah,
this
that's a
year.
big weird one.
But it is.
Oh, good. I'm
just-
nervous for it.
I'm just drowning in good games.
Yeah.
And it looks great. It's just, so many shooters.
Tron discs are actually called identity discs.
Yeah.
You can't purchase. What?
So wait, you knew that.
Yeah.
You still did
And
the
you
question
still-
wrong.
But no, if you said identity disc, people would be like, what the hell is that?
That's the
Exactly.
thing.
You'd
It's
You'd have
like
to say a Tron identity disc.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just
yeah.
say Tron disc.
yeah, it's
Also, Discs of Tron,
Is a
just
game.
real quick,
Yeah.
is the best arcade game of all time.
It's dead. It's gone.
I know,
good.
they took it out of 82, so sad.
what happened.
They just rotated it out, I guess.
Yeah, they just
It's
rotate
like-
them.
So it's like a museum. It's like you just kind of rent it
Yeah.
out. That's cool.
It's like Adam's Family Pinball, Discs of Tron.
What is this thing you're talking about for people who?
Oh my god, it's so
Aren't
good. You're
LA
in like
natives.
this little booth thing, and there are like lights all around and sounds, and it's a 3D screen simulated where there are 2 layers of glass, projected.
Oh, cool.
And then you have like this thing you like spin this disc out. I think you spin it. I don't remember.
Or
And-
you do you spin it or do you go like this?
Yeah, I don't
Shoot it.
remember. You do something.
It's like
you,
golden tees or a ball.
It sounds like
no,
golden
there's
tea,
no
everybody.
ball. There's
Oh,
no
okay.
ball.
Okay.
But there's a thing that you spin to move your character between the discs, and then you have to throw the disc at the guy. Oh my god, it's so good. There's an Xbox arcade version of it that's not good.
You got to have that experience
Yeah.
of 2 screens. You can no longer purchase keys for treasure chests in Dota 2. You will still need to insert your Xbox 360 discs to emulate them on your Xbox One. It does download the game, but in order to make sure that you own the game, it's like, hey, give me that disc. Menu and view are the names of those buttons on the Xbox One controller. Vivendi didn't sell Activision. Activision bought itself back from Vivendi. Okay, this is something that we really need to reiterate. Killer whales are whales. We don't want to hear your funny correction about some Spanish mistranslation. They're whales. Blood, back me up on this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they got
So
blowholes.
They got blowholes.
yeah, basically
mammals.
they're all dolphins are whales and killer whales are in the family with dolphins.
Yeah.
etc. Yeah.
They're all whales.
Oh, now you brought dolphins into
Yeah, I
this.
don't
Yeah.
know about
But
that.
no, that's the main point of the people correcting is that they're not whales, they're dolphins. Well,
What about a porpoise?
dolphins are whales.
Well, I think none of them are probably whales. They're all just members of the family that.
Well,
they're
that's
all
the
the
other.
same-
That's the other thing I said is that whale is just an imprecise common
colloquial term.
Yeah.
It's like Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
What came first, the
The true
chicken
name
or
of
the
Hollywood is
dolphin? Who knows?
Nightmarish hellscape.
But yeah, killer whales, dolphins, porpoises, all in the same family,
So
underneath of the whale family.
I'm sorry, yeah. Any correction you send
Or
in
order.
will fall upon deaf ears. The official stance of GT Time is that killer whales are whales, and we will never change that stance
Is that the name of this episode?
until there's new evidence.
Mandatory update feels differently.
Is it true that
Show
like,
five.
there's a squid or something that shares no DNA with any other living thing on this planet?
Oh, I'm sure squids are
Yeah, I
nuts,
think-
dude.
Yeah.
It's like an alien.
Recently,
Yeah,
right?
I have
Yeah,
heard
people talking
Discovered
about that.
Figured
I haven't
that
heard
out.
that one, but
That's
Yeah.
comfort
Very,
food.
very
Yeah.
recent
Isn't that great?
discovery.
So awesome.
The ocean's pretty cool.
Finally, one of my favorite corrections in a long time. This comes from Glory. Dulcim's fire is an illusion that won't hurt a person if they believe they won't be burned. End corrections music.
I love that.
Is that true?
I
That's
can't
awesome.
comprehend
That
that, but
applies-
okay.
That's canon. I had to look that up. If you're fighting Hakan, the guy who's like, he's an oil wrestler, he's a Turkish oil wrestler, Dulcim says after you beat him, like, don't worry, I won't light your oil on fire. It's an illusion. And there's more
Whoa.
to context of that.
Well, but it does make sense. Your entire body becomes engulfed in flame for like 3 seconds, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, so like contextually, it actually makes sense.
I
love
wonder.
that. That's
I
rad.
wonder if they came up with that canon just so they're like,
I hope they did.
because they were like, wait a minute, this guy's coated in oil, he would burn forever. And they're like, it's just pretend fire.
I mean, if we're really going to dig in, it actually started in the Udon comics with a fight against Sodom, who's an alpha character.
A lot to talk about this week, I
Yep,
think,
let's-
right?
Yeah, we don't need to get into Street Fighter
Oh my
canon.
God.
You know I love Street Fighter canon, though. Okay, so let's start off with a game announcement. One of my favorite ways to start the show.
Oh, I didn't watch this trailer.
This was actually, oh boy, you missed out big time,
Yeah.
Brandon.
No.
This was actually announced in September, but we got our first reveal debut trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's World this week.
Nothing like Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, or 4.
No, it's more like Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm disgusted with myself that I didn't watch a trailer in preparation.
You can bring it up on your
GT10.
phone right now while we discuss
I'm
it.
just gonna turn the volume
Yeah,
down
definitely find it because it's worth seeing at home. It is worth watching because
So wait, is it called Freddy's World?
it's
In
called
the-
Five Nights at Freddy's World.
No, but in the game, the amusement park that I'm
Freddy's
imagining
World,
this
yeah.
takes place at is called Freddy's World.
Yeah, but the game that was announced.
Right,
is
right, right.
Five
Yeah,
Nights at
Is it
Freddy's.
an amusement park world in the game? I thought it was just different kind of like
It looks like
battlefields.
you are the monsters. You exist
Yeah.
within their world. So it's kind of like a made up world. Basically, I didn't want to talk about this game too much because obviously it is what it is. But I just find this so interesting. I'm so into this. Basically, Five Nights at Freddy's is a low cost game. I gotta find the right words. It's a low cost game that blew up huge. And it's just interesting to see. I forget the guy's name. That sucks.
Scott.
C.
No, Scott sees an artist. He could be also.
I think it
Scott
starts with a
C.
C. It's like
Is Scott-
Coward. It's like Coward. Ian, can you look up this guy's name?
Samsonite.
Okay. So anyway, just this one person making these Five Nights at Freddy's games that become huge, blow up.
Making the trailers too. Like,
Yeah.
The trailers
Yeah.
are very just like, just put some text there.
It's
Fine.
kind of that. Yeah.
I'll just
But
put a giant face.
to see his just creative vision is so fun for me. I'm so into this game announcement.
So I love the Five Nights at Freddy's lore.
Uh-huh.
Not a huge fan of the games themselves, but
Cawthon.
Scott Cawthon, yeah.
Cawthon.
But I-
CAWTHON.
I love the
Thank you.
lore behind it because I never know whether Scott actually intended that to be the full lore of the series, or that he had success with the first game and then he thought, oh man, how am I supposed to make this last? People are reading into things in this game. Maybe I should monopolize on this. But the interesting thing about this game is there's like 30 characters that you can choose from to make your party, and it's like, oh, there's Freddy Fazbear, and then there's Shadow Freddy, and then and it's like all these weird, like the purple man is one of the characters,
Yeah.
and the little boy, and it's unless you're a big fan of this series, you'd be like, who the hell are all these characters?
But there are
one is just called Puppet.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, the puppet, yeah,
there are millions of really big fans of this series, though.
yeah.
And I don't know if it'll translate. You know what I mean? PewDiePie can't scream at this, so like it does make me a little nervous that like it's taking that enterprise into a whole different direction. I'm nervous for the game. I'm nervous that it won't blow up the same way the Five Nights have.
Well, it seems like more like a support thing. Like I don't think he's expecting this to blow up.
He's done. He's done with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, so this is somebody.
No, same guy.
Okay.
But he doesn't want to make those games anymore.
Right. So he's fine.
Just
I mean, he already made a ton on those
got
games.
tired
so.
of all that money.
Yeah. Well, he's like a weird creative genius. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like it started out as a Christian game.
Really?
I might be wrong.
what?
Oh,
I
that
should
is
look
some
that up.
interesting stuff,
I
Elise.
should look that up. Could be completely wrong.
Like a horror Christian game?
I'll just keep the
No.
camera on Elise here as she looks this information up.
Absolutely. I don't mind a podcast where people open their phones and look things up because it's way less fun to listen to people guess for a long time. So I'm cool with that. But Brandon, you just watched the trailer. What was
Yeah.
your takeaway?
Lots of combat. I wish there was like, we saw him like going through a forest at one point. And
Yeah.
like I'm assuming there's towns and stuff like that. And it's a teaser. It's very early on.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little bummed that it was just combat. Like that kind of got old. And that the titles were funny, but that would dragged on a little bit. But the game looks. I would play this way more than I would play Five Nights at Freddy's. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what it is, I guess, is that Scott Cawthon developed Christian games.
Oh.
Like he works with a project that has Christian animators, and I think when he started developing Freddy's, maybe the thing was that he was working on a different game, and then it became this. So it wasn't at all what he intended.
Oh, I see.
I believe is the story behind
He
it.
has betrayed his god.
whoa, Freddy is
Really, but okay.
I'm excited for it. It comes out in 2016. I'm pumped. I hope it does well. I hope that someone who finds success in one arena can transfer it to another.
It's not like offensive or anything, It's just like you were saying. It's a fun project. It's fun to see. Clearly, he was not pressured into this. Clearly,
Yeah.
this is not like, oh well, naturally you're doing that. It's not like making a card game or something. It's very bizarre, very unusual.
I hope it has the pretense of a kind of RPG, battle RPG, and then it actually has kinds of a lot, like all this weird lore stuff hidden in it.
Oh, it's going to. For
I hope
sure.
that's what he's doing.
Well, it's kind of reminds me of Y2K. Like it's fun to have just a crazy RPG. That's like classic turn-based party selection, all that stuff. But just
What is
kinda make it
Y2K?
fun. Y2K is like, I think it's called a hipster, or is it hipster? A postmodern RPG.
Oh, is that the one
I
where
don't know.
your a record is your weapon?
Kind of. It changes for each character. Each character
okay.
has like different mini games that they do for the different abilities they do. I'm all about paper plate guy. I mean, there's nothing stopping me
Paper Plate Snowman.
from paper plate snowman.
He's very
He's
cool.
like, prepare to die.
They're cool. Yeah, they're cool little weirdos. I'm into it. Yeah, you're the guy with flannel, and you had like a beard and nice hair and glasses.
I have an
remember
idea
Y2K
for a
now.
show or a game,
Okay.
and it's called Kyle Bossman's Cool Little Weirdos. And it's just
I'm
you
listening.
and like, listen, it's like you and just a cavalcade of little cool weirdos. They could be puppets. They could be whatever. Elise
Yeah.
gets to use her puppet. Like let's do
Brandon's
this.
got some pups.
So I'm
Kyle
sorry.
Bossman's Cool Little Weirdos.
And in the game, are you destroying my cool little weirdos to make me
no,
sad?
no. I think it's a show.
Oh, okay. All
Like
right.
we're hanging out with all the cool little weirdos.
Yeah, you're like,
It's like
"Hi, my
Kyle
name-"
Bossman's Playhouse.
Yeah, kinda.
You say, hi, my name's Kyle Bosman, and here are my cool little weirdos.
I got to tell you, I would not watch this show.
Of course not.
Okay. Let's talk about a huge success, everybody. We don't get to talk about huge successes that often. Halo 5 Guardians has the biggest Halo launch in history.
Whoa.
They need it. Microsoft needs that. That's some good news for them.
Yes. So let me read the quote, because the quote itself is that the press release is actually very interesting. This is the biggest Halo launch and fastest selling Xbox One exclusive game to date, with more than 400 million in global sales of Halo 5 Guardians games and hardware.
And hardware.
Is the interesting
and
part.
hardware.
And hardware.
Yeah.
Because you know what NPD doesn't do? Doesn't
What?
include bundles.
It doesn't?
No, when you see NPD sales, they're never the bundles. It's just the individual game SKUs.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
So
Why
yeah,
wouldn't they?
because then you can't tell whether people just like it's all put together.
Yeah, that don't seem right.
So but yeah, so that's the thing. That's kind of like they're throwing a bunch of numbers out there, but you still can't really tell because they are completely avoiding the units sold. So
Yeah, because when I read it was discs and not discs, but copies and hardware.
Yeah.
I tried to find the number for games and I couldn't anywhere.
They won't tell you. They won't tell us ever,
Couldn't find
probably.
anywhere. And all I found was that it's tanking in Japan. It's doing terribly
Well,
in
of
Japan.
course it is.
Yeah, that's okay.
I mean,
That's fine.
understandably, because the Xbox One did
Xbox One
terribly
sells
in
like
Japan.
dozens
So-
per
Yes.
week in Japan.
So wait, is this the biggest launch? Is it like 3D tickets where it's like, hey, because we bundled this game with a $500 console,
Exactly.
it's made the most money?
So Ian, yes, and it is that. And so I want to ask today, is that wrong? Does that matter?
I
Well-
mean, it's not as impressive. Like it's not as good of news.
But it's
for the game.
It's still making more money though.
Sure.
Well-
but it's like, hey, we sold a bunch of Xboxes and a bunch of Halos, but the numbers of both are not staggering. Is the real news here?
I don't. Yeah. So I am conflicted. I wanted to bring the
the
panel
thing
this
is,
question.
the thing is you're counting that money towards Halo.
Yeah.
But if the majority of that money is being boosted because of the price of the Xbox, well, that's not really going against Halo. It's just going against the Xbox itself. So it doesn't really make sense to add them both up together.
It kind of does because Halo sold that Xbox.
I mean, you don't know that.
I don't
mean-
know that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Halo
safe
could
to
be very much
assume,
just a
but-
tipping point because
Yeah.
okay, I've been waiting to get an Xbox, but I don't need one yet. But when Halo comes out, I'll get one.
And then Tomb Raider's out in 2 weeks later, so
Yeah.
I get that
and then
Halo
they'll
bundle.
just sell them back.
So it's weird. It's also so it's strange too because in a way, it's the Xbox 360 was different because they had the year head start. So a lot of people bought an Xbox 360 just because it was an Xbox 360. It was gaming in HD and like all this other stuff. And for the Xbox One, there's a good chunk of people that have been waiting for a game to really justify buying that system.
Yeah. And Halo did. That's $400 million. So Brandon, basically the question is: this comes off last week when Microsoft said we're not going to even announce how many consoles we're selling anymore. Is that even relevant anymore? Does the number of consoles matter? Does the number of copies matter if they're making more money? If they're selling more rec packs in this era of, you know what I mean? Like
Will matter to what? To us?
to us,
Like,
yeah. On this show, like, why are we talking about specific numbers of copies sold over like how much money?
I think it's as simple as what Ian said. It's just a more interesting story, a better headline, something that we would be more likely to pass on to other people and say, "Wow, look at that!"
But
That's
it-
really interesting.
To me, it also, I mean, this will sound harsh, but like, these are loser tactics. Like,
That's harsh.
I know, but saying like, oh, we're not going to give exact numbers anymore because who cares? If they were winning, they'd be like, we sold this many consoles this December.
yeah, which Sony did do. So
Right.
that's worth mentioning.
So
is
it's
Sony
like
did
they're
specifically
only
say
doing
how
that
many they
because
sold.
they're not in the lead. If they overtake Sony, they're going to tell you exactly by how much.
To play devil's advocate, Blizzard also announced that they will no longer give their kind of quarterly updates as to like WoW subscribers.
Right.
So they're
Who
no
are
longer going
also
to do that
Just diminishing.
Yeah.
because they're diminishing. Like they were 100,000 down from their last quarter, but they said that that's no longer the metric that judges success for them. Like, I mean, maybe they're looking at in-game content. Like that's not really their bread and butter necessarily to say we have this many subscribers. That's a measure of our success.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that.
Right.
I mean, again, like they're bleeding chips though.
They are, but I mean, what if the subscribers they have are spending more per
Yeah.
individual
Right,
on that
yeah.
game?
Exactly, yeah, because like now you can spend more money in WoW than you could when they had 20 million subscribers.
Right, because you buy hats or whatever.
Yeah, so does it matter? Does that even matter? That like, does 5.5 million subscribers matter more than hey, we're making this much money? I don't think it does. I think it.
In that case, no.
then why does it matter when we're talking about like Xboxes sold?
I don't know.
Like if
Install
Microsoft is
base.
able to make more money off fewer consoles, then I think that's a good thing.
I mean, if they say
Yeah.
we're selling fewer
Yeah, but I
consoles,
mean-
but we're selling every person that's buying one console is buying 3 game units with that console, whereas Sony's selling more consoles, but they're selling fewer game units per console. They're selling maybe 1 game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it really does come down to spinning things because if you look at the GameCube, Nintendo was making money throughout that entire life cycle. they were making more money by Microsoft by far. Microsoft was just dumping money into the Xbox. But if you look at unit sales, they were neck and neck. So I think the unit sales are an important metric to be able to look at.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why is it
Because you
important
see
that-
what the install base is. It's like, if you say that you sold, 500 million and your thing is $500,000, and then the other person sold, 100 million, but theirs was only $100. It's like you're just talking about how much your thing costs.
Yeah, I get that,
I
Bud,
guess.
because go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Like, I guess is the conversation how popular is this or how successful is this?
Yeah, exactly. Because part of me likes to know like how many human brains are interacting with this thing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like how far your spread is, how much you're affecting the world, and that is different from like how much money we're making.
Yeah, because I would have rather heard this is the correlation between the launch of Halo and how much Xbox sales have gone up.
Yeah.
Like that's to me a less skeezy way of delivering that information than saying 400 million console and
And then how many
game
rec
sales.
packs they put that in there too? It's
They
like,
did. They sold a lot of rec packs.
Like, I don't care how many rec packs.
Like I'm more interested in like install base. Like, yeah, how many people? It's like again with like 3D movies where they're like Avatar made the most money ever, but it's like, well, no. If you look at adjusted thing, like nothing beats Gone with the Wind. Because
Yeah.
it
Of people
so
who
many
actually watched
freaking
it.
people went, yeah, and like
Yeah.
if you adjust the money, it's like insanity. Whereas Avatar, it's like, yeah, because every ticket costs $18 instead
Exactly.
of $14.
Yeah.
Although I think
Good for you.
I think rec packs does make sense to me though, because it's like if they're going to start implementing microtransactions into Halo, they want to show their base like here's why we're doing it. I mean, it's like you can't deny that wasn't successful. Like
Yeah.
you can't be excited that we're not taking that revenue then putting it into
Yeah.
the Halo TV show or Halo 6.
Yeah, I want to talk about this too because the Destiny Silver sold very well this week. I linked everyone to the add-ons page on the PlayStation Store, the top add-ons, and it is full of silver packs.
Because of that thriller, baby.
Because of that thriller, I think also because of like everyone wants to get masks. You know what I mean? That was a thing. You could get random masks and things like that, and
I
the
almost
candy if
bought
you're
that
into
thriller.
it. Really?
I was like hovering over the button and I was like, oh, it's $7.
That's really
so
interesting,
great.
Ian. Yeah,
It's
tell us
so
about
great.
that.
Dumb.
Going from Ian Hink, who is all, I'll let the plebs buy emotes for you, and then
Yeah.
I'll just reap the benefits.
I never put myself in either camp. I said let people with money buy stupid shit. I never said I'm not gonna buy stupid shit.
So Destiny had an emote. The animation was so good that you
yeah,
said
I
this
liked
might be worth
I
it
liked
to
the
me.
part where she raises her hip, where she goes like booda booda. I was like, damn, I look good, and I almost bought it because of that.
I gotta say the mocap on the emotes in Destiny are insanely good.
It's
They're
good.
very, very good.
It's some good animation.
And then some of them aren't available on PS3 and Xbox 360. Like
yeah,
some,
because too many animations.
how crazy is that?
Too good.
Yeah,
Thriller too good.
I think that's very funny. But so anyway, I want to talk about
Didn't
that
buy it, though.
in relation to all these things. Like, does Destiny number of sales matter, or does like number of silver packs we sold matter for Destiny? Like, Destiny just made a ton of money last week, on top of what it already made with the.
I mean, the thing is it's all valuable information, right? I mean, when you're talking about all of these other things put together, it's like, yeah, like that's impressive to investors and the people that are actually looking at just, well, how much money are you actually making? Which that still sort of doesn't tell you that picture, but it gives you an idea of some of the success. But yeah, unit sales are still important as well.
What?
How you quantify success is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think like to me, I always quantify success as continuing. You know what I mean? If you get to keep going, you've done it. You are successful.
And you think a growing mass outreach means, okay, well, there's an audience that's building,
Yeah.
right? Whereas
Yeah.
the fewer spending more seems less successful than the more spending a lesser amount.
Which is why Warcraft always cracks me up when like Warcraft loses viewers and then still maintains like the largest MMO audience in the universe.
It
And
still
everyone's
is.
just like, well,
Yeah.
I wonder.
WoW's really screwing the pooch. You're like,
Yeah.
that is a massive thing that's
Yeah.
happening right
Two-
now.
5.5
It's like,
million
but it's
people is a
less than
lot.
it was before. It's like when Apple stock drops. Like, well, Apple's done. Everybody back out. They're done. It's over.
To extend this to an absurd thing. Let's say there are 10 million people who are playing X game, right?
Okay.
And they're all good for $1. Okay? Just whatever. Let's
so
say
it's
the
a mobile game?
The game costs $1 and there are 10 million people playing it.
Okay.
And there are no microtransactions.
Okay.
And that game has 10 million people. It made $10 million. Whereas there's another game that has microtransactions that only has one person playing it, but he spends $10 million in the game. Which is more interesting?
More interesting?
Like,
To me,
what
the-
would
that
you
one
rather
guy.
hear
I want to.
about?
I want
To
to have
me,
him on GT
the
Live. I wanna talk
most
to that
interesting
guy.
part is that 10 million user base isn't going ahead and adding microtransactions because they are just stupid.
Right, yeah.
They are not monopolizing on that.
I don't know if
dumb.
I don't know if Ben spent 10 million on Hearthstone. I mean, it was a lot.
He's,
But
it's in the thousands.
Is it?
Yeah, oh, it's over 1,000
Oh
certainly.
boy, is it over 9,000?
I don't know.
Very nice. Over that comment Elise just made, though, do you? We're seeing a lot of microtransactions in games right now. Is it stupid for our AAA games like Assassin's Creed? Like, would it be stupid if they weren't monetizing their audience? Like they decided to monetize their audience. Was that the right thing to do?
It's a very difficult thing to argue because then you get into this weird circle of, how your audience is being treated, and so if your audience doesn't feel like it's being treated right, then over time, then, it may not affect this Assassin's Creed game, but it will affect the next one, to where people just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Brandon, you nodded your head as if like, yes, they absolutely should add microtransactions.
just try it. See what happens. It's like you can't. Again, it's like why they want to release these numbers because they're like, this is really compelling, guys. Silver brought us a lot of money. These rec packs brought us a lot of money. Like this is stuff we really want this game to be successful so we can continue this franchise. And then if like Need for Speed comes along, like this year didn't do microtransactions, and the development team were like, we really want to reboot this franchise, and I think that'll start it off on the wrong foot. Like we just don't want anybody to be talking about that.
They got off on the
Let's
wrong
really-
foot anyways with Always
Well,
Online.
Right. But let's really focus on what we think is important to Need for Speed, and then we'll maybe throw that back in a sequel. But give it a shot. You never know. I just think, I've always been if I'm not like tripping on something, or it's like a multiplayer game where I'm getting screwed now because this guy has a huge advantage. If it's just cosmetic stuff, if it's just bonus stuff, if it's stuff I can easily just like whatever, just move past.
Yeah, there's a big difference between microtransactions existing and then like having some giant thing that takes up a quarter of the screen saying, hey, look at this.
What game does that?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a secret. Okay. We'll find out, I'm sure, in due time. Metal Gear Solid 5, I would say, probably the most heinous about this year so far. Of just like, here are our microtransactions. Here's our system for spending money on this game.
But I wouldn't even know where to find those. Like,
Yeah, that's my thing. Everyone was super pissed about the microtransactions in 5. I looked for it.
Yeah,
couldn't find it.
I forgot those are in there, and they do not interest me at all. They're just like,
Yeah.
it's not affecting my game experience. They're just
Really?
like, whatever.
Yeah, where
I
is
literally,
it?
I
That's
literally,
interesting to hear.
I'm playing that game like feverishly right now, and I totally forgot those were in there.
Yeah,
I can't even think of what they would be.
And
Like-
other base coins. You can buy some other base coins.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, because the
funny.
thing with that wasn't there some standpoint where you really need to buy mother base coins to be successful?
Not really.
Because
I
you
mean,
can't accumulate them naturally
It
at
like
a rate
speeds.
that.
It's the worst kind of microtransaction, right?
Yeah.
Where it like speeds up gameplay. It's like we designed this game to be bad and boring.
Yeah.
Unless you pay us. Like that's like Farmville style stuff.
you can absolutely beat the game offline mode like I did. You can absolutely do it, and it's you get the same ending. It's not much harder, but yeah, you can make it easier if you spend money, which kills me. That kills me so
Yeah,
much.
I'm all for like Team Fortress, like Valve's entire they have Steam and they sell games, but like they make so much money selling purely cosmetic items. I love that. It's like, yeah, sure, throw that in everything because people who want it will want it, and people who don't have to mess with it. You know, I think it's great. But yeah,
Ethics
when
in
it's
game
things
development.
like speed up this timer because this game is boring because we like EA, like The Sims or whatever. It's like we made this game bad unless you pay us more. I'm like, that's bad.
That ain't
news.
right. Yeah.
That's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of evil, why don't we just move into this one? Activision purchased King for $5.9 billion this
Tee.
week. It was strange. The news came late Monday night, like Pacific Coast time. Like that was so strange to me that it just like was announced there, and then like I guess in time for the news to hit the next day. The stock market didn't know how to handle it at first. Activision stock went down, and then throughout that day, Activision stock hit its highest ever.
What was
I
it?
love it
Who-
when
who?
people
Yeah.
people like don't believe things. They like heard this and they're like, for how much?
I should sell my Activision.
What?
Yeah, I'll sell my Activision, and then later on that day, they're like, "Oh, whoa, okay, now I Candy Crush? Oh, okay,
I'll buy it back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously cartoonishly describing investors a world I'll never understand.
I didn't know until we did the Bossman episode that you could play these games in a browser.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought they were all phone
No, King's,
or maybe Facebook.
they have their own unique network, and like that's what Activision, when they're talked about it the next day about why they purchased King, that's part of what they talked about. They're like, hey, these are 500 million customers that we can now communicate with. And so they like that user base as well. They
Yeah.
like having a mobile user
How many
base.
dollars is that per user?
How much money you're spending to reach a user? Ian's on it. Ian's breaking out his calculator. He's going to do the math.
Yeah.
A lot of
interesting.
zeros.
Panel, I want to know, do you think of Activision differently? Are they in another echelon? Are they in like, have they moved up on the ladder?
They moved up from the biggest to the biggest. I don't know.
They consider themselves having moved up because I believe in their
Yeah.
statement they describe themselves as like an entertainment empire or network or something like that.
Are you convinced?
Sure, I mean they own everything. It's the Google effect. They effectively dominate some of the most
Do you-
marketable properties in gaming.
Do you have enough zeros on there? I'm getting really confused
No,
now.
That's no.
You're 3
needs
zeros
3 more
short.
zeros.
Oh my gosh, I'm 3 zeros short.
I was
What
like,
a-
wait a minute,
gosh.
this isn't big enough.
All right, so if you're a listener, you should know we put up graphics for each news story. Mine says King equals $5,900,000, which is simply incorrect.
Yeah.
It's worth $5,900,000,000.
But that's a good representation of like how much money that
So
is.
they
But I got
paid-
the
That
zeros
you
wrong?
typed that out and you
Yeah.
were like, whoa,
You're
that's
like,
a lot of
"That's
money.
fine."
And like that is
They paid
pennies.
they paid $1,180 per person.
Yeah.
Repeat that?
$1,180 per person.
That's how much those people
they
are
gotta
worth.
earn that
Unless
much
I did
back
the
from
math
each of
wrong.
those people.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me. It's like it's not that the investment is bad or crazy or that this isn't something that they could benefit from. It's just that number is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. Like at the same time though, it's like I don't know like how likely it is that these things are going to stick around because we do have a lot of games that are fads that kind of like come and then just fade away. But these type of games that they're just basically cloning each thing is basically the same game, right?
Yeah, it is.
But they've like these clones have existed since Tetris. Like Tetris came out and then people started making things that were the match threes and all kinds of different forms. So it's kind of funny.
The question I have is because I remember with Draw Something when Zynga or whoever bought them, and it like literally like right then disappeared off the face of the earth. And I wondered at the time if the purchase like precipitated the fall, like if everyone heard it in the news and then just lost interest somehow because of that. I wonder if this will affect this in the same way.
Personally speaking, I was way into Draw Something.
Me
Me
too.
too. I was
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it,
And then it just stopped one day.
and then it just
Yeah,
stopped.
I think
one
it-
day you just didn't want to draw something.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it. I think that it was.
You
it
looked
just-
at it and you just said no.
It definitely just stopped being fun. I don't think
Yeah.
the sale had anything to do with it. Like that game just had a limited appeal. You can't do that forever.
So
like-
wait a minute. So, thinking about the cost per person,
Yeah.
does that mean that if you spend $1,200 per person, rounding up, that means that there are enough people spending enough money on this that you make like each person on the median is spending more than $1,200 a piece?
No.
No. They're
So-
not going to make that money back for a long
I'm going
time.
to throw out
Yeah.
an unpopular opinion
Okay.
on this. I think that amount is reasonable because they're purchasing the license to these games for if they want to make a Candy Crush movie, which like sounds ridiculous, but
Or a
Ouija,
kids show.
Ouija movie battle kids show. They want to. They're merchandising. They're making plushies, BS, whatever. They want to do cross promotion with their other games.
But
Like
what Candy-
Mass Effect was just in Garden Warfare.
Yeah.
Grass Effect.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that amount is unreasonable.
The thing is like Candy Crush and like Bubble Witch, the only two of those things that I ever heard of. When you were going through those games,
Yeah.
like the rest of them is like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And that was a great game with Brandon.
Scrubby
destroyed.
Dubby. Yeah.
Destroyed.
Scrubby
Here's
Dubby
my
Saga.
question: is how? I imagine these must be hugely popular in other countries.
Oh,
these
yeah.
games.
Oh, sure, everywhere.
It's
And I
definitely
think-
an international
yeah,
company.
and like Activision knows that, and like we're all scoffing at these games, but like there's probably like a huge fan base for like that weird puppy in Russia or some, not picking just somewhere.
I don't think the
random.
characters anyone cares about. It's just
No, right, but I mean like
the
that
mechanic.
game.
Oh
They're-
yeah, they're psychological
Jesus, that-
messes.
That dog is ugly.
Absolutely.
It looks like a human skull with brown on it.
We are also not the demographic necessarily.
Who
Oh, no, no,
is
no.
the demographic?
I was with some friends
kids.
and they were like,
don't know if
"Have
it's
you heard of
kids.
this game, Bubba
No.
Dubba?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what that game is." But then someone else knew what it was.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's just time killers. I mean, it's the same thing as Pokemon Shuffle is essentially the same game, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very easy to start playing that and just kind of get into that hooked. It's just like,
I think.
I mean, in a way, it's the same kind of thing as just like scrolling through new things on Twitter or Facebook. It's like, oh, there's something, and you're just kind of almost mindless, but there's a little bit to it.
I think. Go ahead.
"Is Candy Crush on console at all?" Is it?
It's not on any consoles yet.
So I mean, maybe it'll come to the PlayStation
Sure.
Store soon.
Yeah,
To me-
Activision actually made a lot of money selling Angry Birds on consoles.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So I mean, I could see that happening.
They
I think
own
that
it.
number's right.
Rovio too. Jeez.
Hmm?
Nothing.
They didn't buy Rovio. They got publishing rights for
Oh,
Angry
oh.
Birds on consoles.
I think the target demo is probably middle-aged, like 60-year-olds more so than kids.
I see a lot of executives playing it. I see
Yeah.
a lot of like lawyers.
The
or,
Michael
you know,
Pachters of the world love
yeah,
Candy
yeah.
Crush.
Well, I mean, Pachter, is infamously into like a lot of free-to-play games.
Well, and I was hanging out with my
moms
friend. Yeah, I
play
was
lots
hanging
of
out with
Candy
my
Crush.
friend and his mom and dad, and his mom was going on and on about Farmville 2
Yeah.
and how she's got like friends all over the world. I got friends in the Philippines through the game. I'm not friends with them on Facebook. And I'm
You know
just
what?
like,
that
"This
makes
is
me
crazy."
not. That makes me not bitter. That she
Right.
actually is connecting actual humans.
She loves it.
Okay.
And she was talking about her babies in Farmville
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and I just seen this 63-year-old woman just lighting up about a video game. I was like, hey, all right.
Don't you play like a game with your friend's mom?
Words with Friends.
Yeah. And you play all the time, right?
Extremely different. Scrabble is a thinking person's game.
Well, same thing.
You
Yeah, a
should
little
play
bit.
Word Hero. That game is fun.
How does Word Hero work?
It's like a word search, but everyone's on the same board. It's on a timer, a 2-minute timer. So everyone does the same board, and then at the end you see the leaderboards, and it's really kind of cool to see all the people like from around the world. And you can put like a little message. So a lot of people say like "Hello from LA" or "Hello from China" or "Hello from wherever," and they have a little flag with their country. It's cool.
Yeah. The strange thing about King games is that they are all identical. None of them are
They're
like
the
this.
same.
They all have a world map. You always have to have a world map in a King game because you got to have that sense of progression, that sense of, oh, I'm actually going somewhere. You always have the tools. Eventually, at some point, around level like 12 or 10, you get a tool. And then they keep introducing tools, and then you have to start spending money for those tools. It gets hard. It gets to the point where you have to pay to continue,
You become the tool.
and then you become the tool.
Whoa.
It's really weird. It's really weird how all similar they are.
I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but it's just like because it's tough. Like we can easily make fun of this. We look at that purchase and the logo in these games and the titles, and it's just
Yeah.
like really silly. But at the same time, it's like they're probably gonna make so much money off of this. Like we just kind of know that thought, like in the back of our head. For me, it comes down to a very simple thing. These games were not made to make good games. Period. These games were made to study the wet interiors of the human brain and figure out like what is that, like what is actually what color does that thing need to be that flies in your face, and it's like buy this, it's like we were talking about microtransactions, and like these games are why people hate microtransactions, because I didn't even know microtransactions were in MGS5, and like you can't touch anything in any of these games without just flashing constantly like hey you can buy this, did you know this, like there's always like a character pointing at the button of the store like dude right here,
Yeah.
and so it's just the idea. It's hard to get excited about something that like there was just like maybe there's some artist way in the back of King Games that's like, I'm gonna make a really good elephant today, and you're like, good job, buddy. But like everybody else is just thinking like, how can I screw these people? How can I screw these people?
Yeah.
And it's hard to get excited about it. It's
Absolutely.
just not.
I mean, that's in
It's
every-
not
like-
what puts a smile on our face
Kind
when
of
we talk about
passion
games.
project.
Yeah. That,
I mean,
like,
passion to make money. But
McDonald's
Yeah.
is like famous for that, like the color palette, the chairs, everything is designed to get you in and out quickly and make you hungry at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Big Macs are delicious, but I would never offer a Big Mac to anyone else.
Right. It's
I could
like,
never
here,
be
let me kill you.
You got to try this.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Scrubby W in particular doesn't matter that much. I think King's just got
Right.
the psychology down.
I have a question. Are they, because like Activision Blizzard added the name Blizzard to their name.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that for this, clearly.
Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah. And like, are they going to
King
keep...
Activision would be amazing.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Are they going to keep King on the logo for each game, or are they going to change it to Activision like Defy did, like...
No, I bet King will keep its logo on the things, just like
Yeah.
Blizzard did. Blizzard is totally autonomous still,
Yeah.
and I think
So that's
King
the
might
thing
be
is
like
like
very
it's
similar.
funny like because I don't think that this news is going to impact the average King player in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
and that's
think-
great. That's the way to
Well,
do
until
it.
we
I
start
think,
getting
um,
Call of Duty stuff in them.
Yeah.
I honestly doubt that they're going to do that. I don't think they'll cross pollinate, but who knows? I mean, maybe they would. Why not?
In the official press release, they mentioned that they're looking to cross-promote things, but they were not clear on what that meant.
Skylanders Match 3.
Skylanders,
Skylanders
Skylander
is the
Mass
first
3
thing
for
to
sure.
go.
You're right. Okay.
Candy Crush power-ups in Call of Duty. Like you can rain down like lollipops on your enemies. I think that'll come.
I'd be down for that.
I would sadly choose that as my
At
perk.
least.
Yeah.
Unleash that horrifying dog monster, the Cthulhu dog on people.
Another thing, I need to break my phone out and find this dog. I don't know.
Just watch Final Bossman. I know it's a chore.
Yeah, it's a commitment. It's like, oh, I gotta watch this
Yeah.
guy complain for 15 minutes.
It's toward the
here we
front.
go. Yeah.
You're only in for like 2 minutes and then you
Nice.
can get out.
I heard the end of the last Final Boss Man wasn't terrible.
It's very good. So let's talk about. Oh boy, I don't like to talk about this too much.
I
Konami
love it.
Officially closes its Los Angeles studio. Ian, why do you love talking about this?
I love watching companies fail.
Oh, why?
I do too. It's
No,
why I like.
what's
It's why I
wrong
like.
with you two?
It's why
No,
I can be
because
obsessed with trailers
capitalism.
because trailers are like the the warning sign sometimes.
Like when the
Uh-oh.
airlines were all failing and then they bailed them out, I was so bummed because
This
I
is
just
not Konami
want.
failing.
I want us to see like
No,
I want
yeah.
chaos.
This is
It's
not Konami failing.
This is Konami making shit tons of money by doing evil shit.
This is Konami consolidating their shit and taking this away from Kojima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
It's them making a slot machine instead of, another good Castlevania game.
So I should give everyone some context for this before we move on from it. But it was early 2014. Kojima set up Kojima Productions LA.
It was 2013, wasn't
yeah, it
it?
was 2013.
Really?
It has to be because I'm pretty sure GTTV was at Kojima Productions.
Okay.
And that would have been 2013.
I'm willing to put that in your hands, you two. If it's a correction next week, we'll just roll with it.
I think the GTTV that had Kiefer Sutherland on it was shot at the Kojima Productions office. So that would have been December 2013.
Ooh, was that also the one where
Pretty sure.
Kojima was wearing the mask?
Yeah. Oh,
And
no,
then-
that was a different episode.
And then that
but
was the is it real or is it CG came from? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was fun. What a fun time.
That was a different episode. That was in a hotel room.
Kojima just makes this industry better. Can you believe that was a thing?
Oh yeah.
There was an interview with him in a mask and people wondered if it was real or CG.
I can't wait until he actually does his own thing.
It was actually human, actually. It was the actor who was pretending to be Joaquin Mogren.
Yeah, they hired a model.
Yeah. Oh, I
Actor
totally
guy.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was so fun. Anyway, that's all over. No more LA studio for Konami. They don't need it. Metal Gear Solid 5 Online, Metal Gear Online will continue, they've said. And they also announced this week that they've started work on the next Metal Gear Solid game.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah. They still say Kojima's on vacation, officially. They don't know if he's going to be involved, but they said we have started work on the next Metal Gear Solid game.
They've got Kojima like chained up in the basement.
Nah, he's out of there.
He's on quote unquote vacation.
He's so gone.
Yeah.
It's really starting to cross the line for me.
Oh, to where? Cross the line of what?
To where they're making really, really poor decisions about not being upfront about what's happening.
Well, yeah, or they're
Like-
holding this man's life ransom.
Because it's,
his business life.
because
At least.
it's bizarre and people do things all the time. Someone will Amy Hennig leaves the company. You're like, what? And it's just like, okay, well, all right, I don't even know the details. I can kind of work it out for myself. And this is just so obvious what happened, and they're not saying it. It's just like
It is weird. That is so
Wait,
weird.
what happened that's so obvious?
that he had a falling out with this company, and then
Oh, right.
and that
I
they
thought you
fired
meant
him.
What
and
it was obvious.
and that he made. It's like, should I read too much into the fact that he put ending credits on every mission? Like, that's a troll, right? Right?
It might be.
That's
it
gotta
might
be a
be
troll.
like, oh, are you taking my name off the box? I'll put my name in this game so many times.
I put my name in this like 45
Yeah.
times.
It really might be
beginning,
that, yeah.
beginning and ending credits of every mission.
Yeah.
His name is in that game about 70 times.
It'd be very fun to count
I
it.
don't
I'm
know
sure
if-
it's more than 70.
Are they in the beginning? I think the beginning is just the cast, right? Doesn't it say
no,
just like starring?
it says
oh,
written by,
God.
I think.
But yeah, it does say
Produced
written by and
directed
directed by. Yeah. He didn't write every chapter though. Some
No,
chapters are
correct.
just some guy.
But I think he directed them all.
It's
didn't
like,
he?
why don't you do the tank ones? If it was just catching
Yeah.
3 tanks, you write that
Yeah,
one.
you go for it. So 6 lines of dialogue, sure.
Gosh, yeah, we should move on from that. Let's move on to, well, you're the one who started this conversation. This comes from Stephen Colbert. Any thoughts?
Probably
Whoa.
not that.
Long-time
Stephen
viewer. Yeah,
Long-time
for real.
viewer, big
Yeah.
fan.
Big fan. Love you, Stevie.
Any thoughts on Indivisible's Indiegogo? This actually, this comes from Stephen Colbert, but also a bunch of people. A lot of people are concerned about this. It seems like a lot of campaigns that already have tons of cash, like Bloodstained, are stalling projects that would need it more. At this point, Kickstarter is just advertising for single A games instead of actually helping a game get developed. I don't think that Sorry, I'm already getting my opinion in there. But I just want to steer this conversation away. I don't think that Bloodstained is the reason why this is not successful. First and foremost. But here's what the thing is. This is a game from the people who made Skullgirls.
Yeah.
Looks it's like a Metroidvania kind of RPG. Very interesting game. What they did differently is outright asks for $1.5 million on Indiegogo, and that's what we're seeing now. Just a bad idea. It looks like starting with a little bit of money and then having boostered stretch goals is the right way to do it, as we're seeing, because they're having a hard time meeting these
Important
goals.
difference with Indiegogo though is oftentimes you don't need to hit the goal; you get whatever
But
is
they do have
pledged.
a fixed funding goal.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So they don't get funded unless they hit it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're idiots.
Well, yeah. What's also interesting about this game in particular, this has never happened before, they just put out a free demo on PSN this week. On PS4, you can play this game right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then it's just like, hey, you want to go spend money?
These guys are geniuses.
So they've totally done it on PC before. Well, I mean, it still is like, it's not getting there. You know what I mean? It's not hitting that critical 1.5
But I mean, the thing
mil.
is, the idea of like putting the blame of this not getting the funding on either the price tag or somebody else, it's just, I mean, it just comes down to like, is anyone actually interested in this project? It's like,
Sure. Can you blame the project?
I just think, whether it's a good project or not a good project, it's just a matter that people are not that interested in what they've seen so far. And it's like, there's Skullgirls fans that are only going to have so much crossover because that's a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're having a Metroidvania, which people are putting out Metroidvanias left and right in the indie scene. And so it's like, okay, well, what really makes this different? Why do I, want to invest in this one instead of just waiting for it to come out? And in terms of what he was talking about, people that already have money, this is kind of in the sort of a similar situation as where like they've got $2 million on deck from a publisher if they meet their goal. So, you're still only paying for half the game.
I actually
Man.
think this game looks really cool.
It
to be
does. I'm
honest.
looking at it right now. It looks really. But the sad thing is, they've currently got $657,000, and 10,000 backers. That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot for an indie
Oh,
game.
yeah,
on
that'd be a
Kickstarter or
successful
whatever.
Kickstarter.
Like that'd be an
Yeah.
amazing Kickstarter.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I think a lot of people haven't heard of this even.
Right,
Yeah.
I hadn't.
Like myself, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was going to say, I actually think this game looks really cool. I wish that a game that had this kind of potential behind it could get picked up by a major publisher.
Sure.
Like, I really wish that, I still wish it didn't have to go to we're funding this ourselves,
Mhm.
because I think this game has so much potential. It looks really, really neat.
And I mean, what's weird is everyone can go play it, publishers included. Maybe that will happen for it. Maybe it'll be that
Maybe.
Red Ash kind of situation. But yeah, Brandon, do you think they failed on their advertising?
Yeah, I think you cross that 1 million mark, and it just kind of loses that like underdog vibe from Kickstarter. That
You
I
wanna
think
give
is
them
so, that is so
200,000, you mean?
alluring. It's just like, oh man, this is not going to happen unless we jump in. And I'm always attracted more to the idea where it's just like, here's this vision that we have. If we go bigger than that, great. But like, we just kind of at least we can have this. And then we can make that game, and then we'll see what happens in the future. And to just be like, no, got to be huge. It's like, all right, well, then I'm not, I don't know. I'm just not really compelled to like help you guys, because it seems like you guys are just like, it's bigger, it's the biggest game or nothing. Just like, all right, it's just not it's not as attractive of a sell as coming out and just being like, hey, if you just give us this little slice of pie, we can do a lot with it. We could do even more if you guys really invest.
I think that's what breaks my heart about this, Brandon, is that like in this case they were honest, and it seems like the honesty was not the right way to go. Because they want to make this game. They want to make that thing really huge. Do you want them to make something less than what they want to do?
No, and it's not a matter of one being like an enticing prospect and the other just not at all. It's just more enticing for me if I can kind of get into it, and it's why like big names that leave companies that then do Kickstarters. Like, it's exciting to see like if Kojima did one, I'd be very interested in that. But
If
there would
Kojima
be
the
It's really
difference
fun
though
to-
is if Kojima did one and asked for 1.5 million, he would have it in 4 seconds.
But there still would be that little thing in the back of my mind that's like, he's so huge that like he can't get a couple friends together and get some capital to do this, like, because there's so many people out there that where we had one on GT Live last night where it's like,
Yeah.
it's this or nothing. It's just not going to happen. It's not, and where Kojima was just
Well,
like,
for them
this
it
would be
was-
easier.
For them, the Kickstarter isn't that. Like for the guys last night, like they said they're gonna do it anyway.
Sure.
Who are the guys last night?
Failsafe.
Game Over
Failsafe,
Studios is
yeah.
making Failsafe.
But like I think, the impression I get from this is like they chose to do the indie funding thing, because they don't want to be under somebody's heel or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no, they have a publisher too.
Yeah.
And I think Indiegogo gave them a deal or something, some promotional thing, or
Oh.
like some sort of like, if you stick with us and not Kickstarter, we'll give you a better deal on like how much we cut out or something like that. I think that's part of the deal. I don't know. It seems like if you got a game, you go with Kickstarter.
Or Fig.
I don't know. What has Fig launched a
Has
project
Fig
yet?
happened?
They've-
I don't
It
believe
has started.
They've had
Yeah,
some
they-
projects on there. Yeah.
They have.
It
Okay,
seems
and they've been funded.
complicated.
I don't know if they've been funded or
Yeah.
if they just have currently active projects. Look them up.
Yeah, well, let's look it up. We'll see how Fig is doing. But in the meantime, yeah, I think you got to go with Kickstarter. You know what I mean? If you want to like make a documentary about rollerbladers, go to Indiegogo. But like if you're a video game, go on Kickstarter. Go where Shenmue made $10 million. You know?
Now I want a game about documenting rollerbladers.
No, you don't. You don't want that
Where you
game.
gotta like follow them around with your camera. You gotta like line them up.
Well, here's the
and,
thing.
do
Yeah,
tricks
the
and
year
take
is
pictures, like, while doing
1991,
the trick.
and the year is 1991.
Yeah.
So you're on the bleeding edge of this.
And then like the magazine shows up at the end of each level and the pages flip and you're like, they're my photographs.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
That'd be kind of awesome.
Shooting and rolling.
Yeah, Indivisible. I wish for them the best. It's worth trying a free demo, but yeah,
I'm downloading it to my PS4 right now.
Nice.
through the app.
Yeah, baby.
That's pretty cool.
At least find the thing. I'm tired of this joke of just sitting on you.
Yeah.
Fig I found it. I was just waiting for a break in the conversation. Fig has a game on their homepage right now called Anchors in the Drift that is 15 days from its 500,000 goal.
Where's it at right now?
104,000.
Oh no.
Not gonna make it.
You got to go with Kickstarter. You got to go. You got to do Kickstarter, I guess.
So what's the deal with Fig though? Like I would get 5 cents for every 1,000 units.
You need to be a
sold.
special person. It's not like every person gets a chunk of it.
Not saying you're not special, Ian.
So
Yeah.
literally, the promise of Fig is nothing.
It's hitting that like upper investors. They can actually have more impact.
So you have
on
to
the
put
game.
in like 10 grand for it to matter.
I don't think 10 grand, but yeah, I think that's the idea. I think
That's
the people who give
stupid.
$1 aren't getting any portion of any game's profits.
I mean, yeah, because that would be dumb too. But
Yeah.
oh man, what a
Pennies on the
weird
dollar.
thing.
Pennies on the dollar. Thank you for starting that conversation, Stephen Colbert. Let's do bets. Okay, here's what's going on Tuesday. Fallout 4, big release. Lisa's got a hot bet over there.
I don't at all. Sorry.
Huge release. It's still shocking to me how fast Fallout 4 has been announced and is releasing. That's crazy to me.
That's the way they ought to do it.
I guess that's the way you ought to do it. We'll see. We'll see if it explodes and is the best-selling game of the year.
Probably will.
Who will know? We don't know the numbers on Halo. We never will.
I read it.
I
Yes.
was gonna say,
true, yeah.
do we know how many bundles Fallout is selling?
Yeah.
But a
Oh my
lot of
gosh.
people are buying that Pip-Boy edition, so that's $130 a unit.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. I'm really just curious how much money Fallout 4 is going to make. I just want to know those numbers. Anyway, at this time,
reach out with your Pactor.
at this time next week, when I look at the top 11 most recent PC reviews for Fallout 4 on GameRankings.com, how many times will I count the word Skyrim amongst 11 reviews? It is my turn to reveal my bet first. My bet, of course, is 5.
5 rim.
It was the Elder Scrolls 5.
I wonder what Elise's bet is. I can't see it through the paper.
Hang on. Oh wait, it's upside down.
Oh, you know, for kids.
8. 8. It's an 8.
Thank you very much. Bloodworth, your next
I'm
reveal.
going with
Wow.
12.
I love that bet. I love when he goes higher than the actual. So somebody's just like, as opposed to Skyrim, this game's not saying, but similar to Skyrim. Yeah, you got it, Blood.
I'm going to lose this bet.
Okay.
But in case I win it, I really, really want this bet to go through. None.
Zero.
No one's doing it.
Wow. Great bet.
Yeah, you're going to
Uh,
lose.
Yeah.
Let me lock those in.
But I mean, if there's one or two, I win.
You start the motion, and then I do the sound.
I'm locking it in. Okay. We got a lot of insults on the sound. Apparently, we got to up our game there.
That's a weak sound, actually.
That sound?
Brandon too now.
Yeah, it's
so
weak.
when Davis was here, he made fun of our sound, and then all
I
the
don't think
comments.
you guys can actually
It
hear
sounds
it that
like
well.
it sounds like a rusty door on a windy day. It doesn't sound like
It's
a vault
it's
closing.
a barn door slowed
Like, no
down.
wonder
it's
no
a
wonder these
car
bets have gotten
brake
out
slowed
before
down,
because
and it's some kind of like weird mid-range flutter.
like the chain on my driveway is more
like-
substantial than that.
Sounds like my
I know
knees
that.
when I stand up.
Hey man, if you want to take a whole 5 minutes to make a lock-in sound 10 months ago, Actually, it was probably years ago.
I am
Go for it.
not gonna do it.
All right, there you
Okay.
go. Problem solved.
It's the sound we got. Everyone, that's the
Who
sound we
won?
have.
Why don't I just make the sound every time?
Yeah.
All right,
That,
let's
do
that
it.
would be more
Let's do it in
fun.
the microphone.
I'd rather just go like.
You're right. We should just do that. We should all like collaborate on a sound next time.
Yeah,
I'm really
okay.
hoping that the new mixing board that we're getting next week has like echo effects because I really wanted because I knew you were gonna say Skyrim. I really wanted to put like an echo on your voice.
Oh, that'll be cool when we do
Skyrim.
stuff like
so
that.
if we can, I'm gonna do that like crazy. Can this one?
So let's do a trial run. At least we will talk about who won. We'll get there. But I want to lock in the bets again. But I want each person to do a sound effect as we close. I want it to be a wall of sound.
Okay.
Okay, Blood.
Wait,
are you
we're all
good with
doing it
that?
at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all
Wait,
doing,
what's happening?
We're all adding on to the sound effect of me locking in the bets.
Of the actual sound effect?
No.
Fascinating.
Don't play the actual
Oh.
sound effect. Use your voice. We're
Okay.
all gonna
We're all
be a
gonna do it.
component
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
of
Alright.
locking it in. Okay, so I'm gonna lock in the bets a second time. Here we go.
Nice.
Kind of feel like you sabotaged that one a little, Ian.
Huh?
With the.
That wasn't
Oh,
me.
that was me.
Who was that, Elise?
What?
What kind of lock sounds like?
I
going-
just figured it'd be a menagerie of sound.
A
and
menagerie?
I would provide the baritone, of course.
That's not a baritone. I gotta tell you.
We say nothing ever happens in Blay, and you say nothing ever happens in Blaine.
Yeah.
Anybody?
What is that
I know
reference?
Ian's
What
got
was
that.
that? No,
I know
what
Ian's
was
got
that?
that. You
I
don't,
get
you
it.
don't deserve it, Kyle.
Okay.
Show's over.
I don't deserve.
Nothing ever happens in Blair.
So let's talk about. I have no idea what that is. Let's talk about last week's bet.
Boring, boring, boring.
Need for
boring.
Speed.
Let's sing the whole show
Stools.
for Kyle right now.
Is that a stupid musical or what are you doing? Okay.
It's a beautiful, wonderful,
It's a beautifully stupid
sort
musical.
of musical.
Okay.
Oh, it's a musical.
I mean, there's a musical within the movie.
No.
Need for Speed.
Oh god, that movie's so good.
Released on Tuesday this week. It's of course has a lot of FMV videos. Video is in the V. Blood, you played this game.
Yeah.
How much video was in this?
Oh, there's a lot actually.
How
Yes.
many fist bumps are in it?
Ooh, that would have been a good count. It would have been hard to keep up with.
If
So
we bet
many?
on how many fist bumps are in
In
Need
the
for
first
Speed.
yeah, we
minute,
should.
I saw
maybe
like
maybe
3.
there's like yeah.
So
I don't know.
because it's such a production, I assumed maybe it would have longer credits. So the bet was how long will the credits be? Here's how the bets shook out. In last place is Brad, who bet 6 minutes. He was 5:56 off.
Damn it, Brad.
In third place, yeah, sorry, did not do the super seat right. Jones, he bet 7 minutes. He was 4:26 off. And second was Blood. He was 2 minutes and 56 seconds off. And first was me. I bet 11:21 seconds.
Rigged.
The actual credits 11:26. I was 5 seconds off.
Whoa!
I'm the one that had the
pretty
game
good.
when
The
we made
21
this
Yeah.
bet.
is interesting. The one it couldn't be just 20.
Yeah. See, all you all did flat bets. You know, you gotta throw in
spice
some
it up.
numbers. You
Spice
gotta-
it up.
Yeah, I'm
Gotta
pretty proud of that
spice it
one.
up.
So our current scores now: Super Seat 14, Blood 14, Jones 6, Bossman 11, creeping
Ah.
up on you.
Single digit chump.
You won 11 with an 11-minute bet.
Yeah.
Whoa!
That ain't
Winning
bad.
11.
That ain't bad. And so, as the winner of the bet, I get to do many things. I get the right and responsibility to deliver my Twitter name. I get to promote any video I want on GameTrailers.com. I get the final word on anything I disagreed with throughout the stream.
Which
the
hasn't come up at all
podcast.
since you've announced that. No one's.
No. There's been some good ones. There's absolutely
Yeah?
been some good
No.
ones.
Maybe I wasn't here for those episodes.
And then finally sign off the show with my trademark sign off.
And tell people it's on iTunes, right? Wasn't that something that you wanted
That
us
is,
to do?
you're right. Thank you, Elise.
No problem.
So
I
what-
mean, maybe I should have won.
What's on iTunes?
Kidding.
Elise, can you
This
tell me
show.
what's on iTunes?
This show.
How can I subscribe?
Don't recall. I just skimmed it. I didn't think I would win. Brad, he blew it as usual. I'm kidding. I don't recall. You want me to look it up?
No. You just type in GT
old
time in
Ellis
iTunes,
fumble.
and you can
How
subscribe.
long does that take? Is that like a half-hour stupid process?
What's a subscribe? No, it's the
No,
simplest process
when you
in the
put
world.
it on iTunes.
Oh, everyone, I go through a lot of work each week to put the show on iTunes. I gotta be honest. I go into like XML. It's so weird. I don't know why I think I'm doing it wrong, but it
I
gets
think
up.
you are. There are ways you could put it on just a server and it'll skim it automatically.
Well,
Talk to Omar about it. He knows all about this shit.
okay.
You and your production shortcuts,
You know, I
your
don't mind.
efficiency.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sick
copy
of
and paste.
it.
This is the
Yeah.
kind of thinking that gets our ending music right in the middle of the show.
Yep.
Hey,
What?
yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
fight, you guys. You're too good together.
For my final word, I wanted to make it clear actually that Words with Friends is a stupid game. Like, you're right, Elise. That's a dumb game. Like, I gotta acknowledge.
minute.
What?
Your own final word is against yourself?
This week, yes. You know, I'm a man
What
of
a
many
beautiful
facets.
train wreck you are.
Yeah.
I love you.
So yeah, I don't want to be like, ooh, my mobile game is better than the other mobile. No, it's a stupid game. You're right. I'm playing a stupid game. I'm falling for the same stupid tricks. I'm a stupid. We're all stupids. It's important to acknowledge that. It's okay to be stupid.
I wasn't.
Dare to
I
be
didn't draw
stupid.
attention to it because I
At
thought
least-
it was stupid.
I'm sorry. This is my final
Sorry.
word. What part of final word do you not
Sorry,
understand?
I just meant that you have a friend that
She's still
you
doing
otherwise
it.
wouldn't be
She's
friends with.
still doing it.
That's all I was trying to
She's
say.
still
doing
going.
it. She's still final wording your final word.
The video I want to promote is Don's Design Lab, which should be up next week, Monday or Tuesday. We're shooting for Monday, but it might be unlikely. Are we going for Tuesday? You're allowed to talk for this part.
Oh, okay.
Just don't promote a
I
different
think you
video.
should talk to Don and Jenna, 'cause I don't know if he can hit either of those days.
Oh my gosh. Well, there is a new Don's Design Lab in the works.
That
It's
show's
going to
got
be
like a 300-to-1 shooting ratio.
yeah, it's going to be a beast. It's a real beast of an
I think
episode.
it's 63. What was the first one? It was like, yeah, it was like 68-to-1 or something.
Yeah, really, like we overshoot for sure, but it's an interesting show in which Don creates a level for us to play in Super Mario Maker. We play through it, we give him feedback, he adjusts it, brings in a new person, that person cries about something else, and so it's just a mess of things that it's fun, like a little window into the like most basic of game design, and it's actually kind of interesting in that way. It's a fun show. So look out for a new episode of that coming next week. And everybody, yeah, subscribe on iTunes. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Any way you ingest the show is great for us. And remember that tomorrow is forever all ours.
I love.